Virtual machines are very fundamental and core concept of cloud computing, and public cloud providers have a VM as a service where they allows us to create any virtual machines and run our workload. Specifically in this video, we are going to talk about Google Compute Engine, aka GCE, and we'll try to understand this concept because it is very important to understand GCE in terms of associate level certification. So, who am I? My name is Ajay, and in this channel, we share short tutorials, video, and hands-on walkthrough for software developers. If you like such content, you can smash the like button, or if you want to see such content in the future, you may consider to subscribe this channel. So let's see what you will learn from this video. So there are four topics which I have planning to cover. First, we'll see how we can create a virtual machine from Cloud Console, and then after we see how we can accomplish the same task using a gcloud command line utility, and we will create that virtual machine from our local machine, right? And then after we'll see how we can SSH into that newly created virtual machine. We will see two methods. The first one would be to simply and very easy one to SSH from Cloud Console. And then after we will see how we can SSH into the same virtual machine from our local machine. And then after we'll deploy a simple web server called Nginx and we will try to access it. Right. So this is the agenda which we are going to learn. So we will start creating VMs after this intro. All right. Prerequisites. Obviously, you should have a GCP account to do this demo. If you don't, I have already created a video how you can create a free GCP account and utilize a $300. I will link that video in the card section so you can go ahead and watch it and set up your free account. And the second one is kind of optional. Having a basic knowledge of VMs, disk, and networking, some concept of networking would help us, but it is not mandatory. It's completely fine, completely okay if you don't have these basic knowledge of VMs, disk, and networking. So this is the optional one. Okay, so before understanding and creating a virtual machines, it is important to understand this concept, region and a zone. We will talk about region and zone when we start our networking concept for GCP. But for now, I would give you some brief introduction about the what are the regions and what are the zones. So regions are basically specifically a geographical location where you can run your resources. And within a region, you have a different zones. So within a zone, there could be multiple data centers. We can think of a region is a geographical areas and zones are collection or set of data centers, right? So within a region, there would be multiple zones, right? So for example, if you can see in this within a VPC account network, uh, I have given a three examples. So we have a region US East 1, US East 4, and Asia South 1, right? So I have listed on these three regions, and within these regions we have a zones, right? So we have a zone US East 1B for US East 1 region, right? And so on and so forth. And we can create these resources like compute engine, app engine, and Kubernetes engine within these zones, right? So any resources that lives inside the zones referred as a zonal resources. All right. So virtual machines and the persistent disk lives in a zone. If you want to attach any persistent disk to a virtual machine, both resources must be in the same zone. All right. And similarly, if you want to assign some static IP to your compute engine, right? And the static IP is regional level resources, right? So your instance and the static IP should lives in the same. Okay, so let's quickly move on to a demo. Quickly show you the Cloud Console, how we can create instances from the Cloud Console, and we'll after that we'll move on to gcloud commands and we will see how we can SSH and we'll see how we can deploy a simple Nginx service and access it. So let's switch back to a demo. All right, so here I have already logged into my Google account and you can see I have created a new project called Ajay Mahar YT GCE demo. So this is a project I have created, and if you come to this page, this API will automatically get enabled. So how you can access this Compute Engine VM instance page, right? So you can go ahead, click on that option and come to a cloud engine and VM instances, compute engine and VM instances. Right, so you will land into this page. If you are opening this page first time, so automatically compute engine API will trigger and it will get activated. So behind the scene, what it does, it creates a default network for you and creates some firewall rules, default networks, and create default service account which are required to create any instances. Okay, so let's quickly go and create one simple instance, a VM instance. We need to click on the create button. Okay, so these are the options and the configuration which we can set for our compute engine, right? So we will go very basic here because this is the first video about the GCE, and I wanted to give you some GCE how you can create instances, and we will cover more details and the more advanced options in our future videos. All right. So with that, let's get started. How we can create an instance with name. I will say Nginx. Create an instance name with Nginx, and we will provide the labels, and labels are very important. And this helps us to organize our GCP resources. So based on the label, you can filter out the cost metrics as well. So this is very important. So for this video, I'm skipping these labels, but it's a good idea to use the labels when you create any resources in GCP. All right. So we will select the region. So for this demo, I will choose US East 1 and the zone would be US East 1B. Okay. So we'll select that. And from machine configuration, we will select N1 type and I will go with G1 small machine. So this will tell you how many vCPUs you will have and how much memory RAM we will have for this particular VM. All right. And from here, we will select our image or operating system. And I will go with a Ubuntu and the standard persistent disk size would be 10. That's okay for this demo. And from here, you can also select the different version of Ubuntu. I will go with this with the default one. Click on select. And here we have to select the service account, right? So remember, I said when the compute engine API gets enabled, it does some task in the background, right? So it created one default account, compute engine default service account for us. So here you can see that, right? All right. And here, if you want to create any firewall rules, you can go ahead and check this option, right? So for now, just understand you need to set up this configuration for your instances, right? And simply click on that management security disk and option and click on networking, and here just make sure you are using your default VPC network. So if you have created a new account or new project, this network will automatically get created when we enable a compute engine API, right? So just make sure you have this option selected. If you click on this option, you can see the name, network name, subnets, and internal and external IPs and all these things, right? So I'll just click on done. And okay, so before clicking into create button, I would like to show you one thing. So if you see this command line uh, option is here, if you click on that, you will see the equivalent gcloud command whatever we have configured for our instance. So every time if you want to create the same set of virtual machine with the same configuration, I can easily go ahead and copy this command and run this command from local machine or cloud shell from somewhere, right? Close it and let's click on create. So it will go ahead and create a one virtual machine called Nginx for us. So it will show us the zone, which zone it's getting created, what is the internal IP and external IP. We'll see. Okay, it seems like it was pretty quick and we have our new virtual machines get created. All right, so here you can see the name, the zone, internal IP and external IP. How we can SSH into this machine. So here you can see option SSH button. You can see, right? You just need to click this button to SSH into your machine. We will go ahead and click it. Let me make it a big so you can easily see. So behind the scene, it's transferring that SSH key and it will go ahead and connect. So once it connected, we will run some commands to install the Nginx server. So here you go. We have connected to our machine. I hope this is visible. All right. So let's quickly go and install a simple Nginx web server. We will update the packages. Cool. We will go ahead and install the Nginx. Okay. Okay, it was pretty fast. So we'll clear the screen and see if Nginx service is running or not. Okay, seems like its service is running. And let's see the process. Nginx. Okay, that also looks good. So we have SSH into our machine and we have installed a web server called Nginx, right? Let's quickly exit from this SSH session and try to access our machine. Let's close it and we'll copy this external IP, open a new tab and access the Nginx. Yep. So here you can see we are able to access our Nginx web page, right? It was pretty easy. All right. So this is how we can do these stuff from Cloud Console. The same thing we can done from our local machine as well. We can utilize the gcloud command line utility to use the Google Cloud resources. And it is always a good practice to once you done with a demo, you should remove all your resources to avoid extra cost while you are not using those resources, right? So we have done with a demo with a cloud console. So we will go ahead and delete this VM. So we'll select that VM and delete it. Okay. So it will delete this VM. So we are sure we are not going to charge for extra money. All right. So it's being deleted. Now let's come back to our terminal and see how we can do the same stuff, accomplish the same stuff from our command line, or from our local machine, right? So before going into that, it is very important to understand. For this demo, I'm using my local machine terminal, and I'm accessing the Google Cloud resources from my local machine. So if you don't want to install SDK into a local machine, that's completely fine. There is another way which you can use. So you can use when you log in into your Google Cloud account, there is an option called a Cloud Shell, right? So if you click on that option, one small VM will be spin up and ready for you. And whatever the command I'm going to run from my local machine, you would be able to run the same set of command from this Cloud Shell machine. So here you can see it is ready, right? So let's see if it has a gcloud command or not. Okay, so it has, right? So the same set of command which I'm going to use from my local machine, you can use it from here. If you don't want to install Google SDK into your local machine, right? If you want to install the Google Cloud SDK into your local machine, so you can watch my one of the previous video which we have created, and how you can install and configure a Google Cloud SDK for Windows, for Linux machines, and for Mac OS. So if you want to watch that video, I will link that video in the card section as well, so you can go ahead and watch it. Right, so let me just close it. Okay, so here we have a local machine. So before going to further, it is very important to see the local configuration. So I have already set up my local configuration for this demo. I will just quickly go and show you. So this is a command which I can use, gcloud compute config. So it will show me the local configuration for my machine. So this is the one I have set the zone as US is to 1B, and the project which we are going to use, and the account, right? So this is the same account which I used to log in into this cloud console, and this is the same project which we are doing the demo, and this is a zone which you have set up. if you don't know about how you can set the project and zones, I will just quickly go and show you the commands which I've used. The command I have used is gcloud config set project and project name. So it will go ahead and set that project name into a local configuration. To set the zone, you would use a command gcloud config set compute zone, and you will provide a zone name. So it will go ahead and update your local configuration with the zone, right? So these two commands which I have used. If you want to list out all the VMs which you have created or present inside your particular project, right? So you can use this command called a gcloud compute instances list. So this will list out all the VM instances if you have any. In this case, I don't have any instances running in my project, so it's showing me a zero. Let me clear that screen and let's quickly go and see uh, how we can create a virtual machine from using a gcloud command, right? So before that, there is one more thing I would like to show you. So if you do a gcloud compute instances create and look for a help. So if you see, you have these many options and the flags which you can use with this command gcloud compute instance create, right? And it is impossible for me to cover each and every option in a single video, right? I will give you a brief introduction and simple thing which you can use. We will learn each and everything step by step, right? And how we can use these small little commands to spin up any VMs. All right. So these are the options which you can use to create your compute engine. Let's simply use the command to create a one virtual machine quickly. Compute instances create, and here we provide our instance name and the machine type, right? So we can also use a zone flag and project flag, right? But we have already set up these information in our local configuration, right? So we don't need to use these flags. But in case you have not set up your local configuration, it is recommended to use these two flags. Let's enter and see. Okay, it was pretty quick. So it says the instances get created with this name. This is the zone. The machine type is this, internal IP and external IP. All right, looks good. Let's quickly go and verify in our console. Let's refresh the page and yeah, here we go. You can see VM we have just created from our command line machine. If you run the command gcloud compute instances list, you will see we have a one instances, right? And now let's quickly see how we can SSH into that newly created virtual machine, right? So for that we have a command gcloud compute SSH and the instance name, right? And here we can also provide the dash dash zone and dash dash project flag, but we have already set up in our local configuration, so we don't need to use it. We can omit these flags. So let's try to SSH it. Okay, it's adding that key, and here you go. We are inside our virtual machine. Let me clear the screen and see, right? So you can see we are inside the Nginx dash lab virtual machine. Let's quickly go and install the Nginx web server and we'll perform the same set of commands which we have used previously, and we will try to access this from our browser. So let's quickly go ahead and do that. Will you update the packages? Okay, it was quick. Let's install it. Let's confirm. Okay, We have our Nginx service server, web server is running into our virtual machine. Let me clear the screen and let's see if the service is running or not. For that we use command systemctl status nginx. Okay, service is running. That's good. Let me clear the screen. Let me write this new command. Okay, let's see the process. Okay, process is also running. That's good. Now let's quickly go and see if we are able to access this web page from using our public IP or not. We'll copy the public IP, open a new tab, HTTP, and paste the IP and try to access it. Yep, we are able to access our web page. So we have seen how we can create a virtual machine from our local machine using a gcloud command line utility, and how we can SSH into that. And we have also installed a simple Nginx web server. As I said earlier, it is a good practice. Once you're done with a demo, you should remove your sources. Let's see what is the command to delete your virtual machine. Okay, so one more important thing. I was trying to execute this gcloud command from the machine which we have just SSH into, right? This is not the right place because I want to access my Google Cloud resources from a local machine, right? First exit from here, right? And use a command gcloud compute instances delete, and you will provide an instance name. Let's go and delete this. Right. Make sure if you are creating an instance with a different name, here you have to provide your instance name. In my case, I have created the instance nginx-lab, so I am providing this name. In your case, if you are creating an instance with a different name, you need to replace this name with your instance name. Press enter. Okay, so it's get deleted. We can quickly go and verify from our Google console. Let's refresh this page. Now you can see that instances got deleted. All right. So we have seen this demo. If you have any question or doubts, you can ask questions in the comment section. I will try my level best to answer them as soon as possible. And these are the important links which you can use to get more information and understand this topic in depth. And I would highly recommend you to go through these links. And yep, I think that's what I planned for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video and if you find this video useful and helpful, smash the like button and get subscribed for more hands-on labs video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.